All right, what up, stream people? We are back. Time to jump into everybody's favorite topic, stochastic terrorism. There's been actually quite a few notable stochastic terrorism incidents in the news lately, particularly surrounding trans people, and I want to talk about it because a pretty frequent pattern is emerging. Riley Gaines, who decided to make a political career out of tying Leah Thomas for fifth place, has been linked to a bomb threat to a public library, and she has freaked out on Twitter about it. For those that don't know the context of the story, there was a public library, and a bunch of TERFs wanted to host an event at the public library because it's a public space. They were like, yeah, we can give you a space, but they let them know that, hey, we have a policy that this has to be, like, inclusive for everybody. We're not going to allow, like, hate speech, and so if you, like, misgender people, that's not really allowed at our library. You can't do that. And so the TERFs host their event, and throughout the event, they are just like constantly misgendering trans people to the point that the librarians had to step in multiple times and tell them, hey, this was part of the policy which you guys agreed to. You can't do that. That's not allowed in our library. Please stop misgendering trans people and you can continue. And eventually it reached a point where they were kicked out of the library because they were repeatedly violating the library's policy, which they were informed of multiple times. And they had a bit of a tantrum about it, where Riley Gaines, who was one of the people speaking at the event, ended up posting the phone number of the library, and just hours later, like after telling all of her fans to call in, hours later after posting the phone number to the library, they got bomb threats, because that's what these crazy anti-trans people do. Like, this is not the first time that this kind of thing has happened. There was the bomb threat to the Boston Children's Hospital that was inspired by Matt Walsh and Libs of TikTok. This is a recurring phenomenon. What's even more concerning about this is how much they want to play victim whenever they inspire bomb threats. It's crazy. So this type of speech, the way that they will abusively try to get away with inciting violence, inciting threats, is a manipulative, abusive tactic known as DARVO. For those that haven't heard about DARVO before, it stands for Deny, Attack, Reverse Victim, and Offender. This is a very common abuse manipulation tactic that's used in personal relationships, that's used as a means of scapegoating responsibility for one's actions in general. And it's so crazy. Like, the tweet that Riley Gaines did to try to back out of, oh no, don't say that, like, I was linked to a bomb threat when I posted a phone number and told my fans to go swarm it, and then hours later they received a bomb threat, is textbook Darvo. Like, the literal example they have for deny, what are you talking about? I didn't do that. Even if I did, you know I rarely do this type of thing, and honestly, it's harmless. She starts off by saying this is libel and character assassination, so claiming that it's a lie. So we've got the deny step right there. And then she immediately goes on the attack. You are the only one inciting violence and outrage by this post, but I understand that's the goal. Literally mimicking the why are you getting so worked up about this? And then to reverse victim and offender, did you not learn anything from the last time you were sued? Don't worry about changing the article. It's already been screenshotted, lawyer up. Literally just mimicking the textbook example. You're always on my case about something. Don't you remember what happened last time? It's so textbook Darvo, yet when people... It's so crazy, like, how many people cannot see this. This post got 10,000 likes, like about 250,000 views, insane traction. And this was only one of two recent instances of stochastic terrorism linked to anti-trans hate. The other example was the woman who was shot for having a clothing store in Los Angeles, where she just had a pride flag outside, and a crazy anti-trans bigot literally shot her just for having a pride flag. This crazy anti-trans bigot was a Matt Walsh fan who was it's the guy right here down at the bottom. You can check this person's Twitter. It is full of crazy stuff. Also retweeting like Jordan Peterson and Matt Walsh, and really stuck in this crazy, like, conspiratorial Christian posting where it just shows extreme mental health problems. And they were inspired by Matt Walsh and his likes. And so Matt Walsh, needing to play defense, after literally putting out an episode titled The Pride Flag Deserves Our Disrespect, inspiring this shooter who shot a person in cold blood over having a pride flag, Matt Walsh also engaging in similar Darvo tactics. Let's hear what he has to say about the incident.
I want you to see the tactics that these soulless ghouls use. But of course, I'm not going to dignify this garbage by actually giving some kind of language.
Immediately making it out like the people who were killed are the victims, or are the offenders. Like, immediately jumping straight into Darvo.
The explanation about why I have nothing to do with a local crime story in California involving two people that I've never met. Everyone knows that I've never encouraged violence. I've obviously never told anyone to go kill people over pride flags.
So the funny thing is, Matt Walsh says he's never encouraged violence, but that's actually literally just provably false. Here he is on the record, quite literally explicitly encouraging political violence. This is one of his older events where he was still like pre-transformation, pre all of the gender affirming, you know, like hair transplants and facial masculinization surgery. Like you can see how much worse he looks in these older videos. But yeah, like all of the Daily Wire ghouls have had like gender affirming care to make themselves look better.
If you want extreme things to happen, you have to be willing to go to extremes. The civil rights movement, they had specific goals. They boycotted. The people that were oppressing them, they made them hurt. They didn't just hold signs, they made them hurt. So I would say that it's time for extreme measures. I'm not advocating.
It's time for extreme measures.
Violence, but why are we limiting ourselves?
I'm not advocating for violence, but why are we limiting ourselves?
Well, our founding fathers, everyone keeps bringing up our founding fathers. They were willing to pick up guns and kill people.
That sounds like you're now endorsing picking up guns and killing people. And fast forward here, he has to pretend that this never happened. This clip was a part of a whole series of clips which Matt Walsh and the Daily Wire paid over $100,000 to try to suppress, including the clip where he talked about how, like, underage girls, it's okay for underage girls to be, like, pregnant at, like, 16 or whatever as long as they're married. Like, they spent $100,000 to try to sanitize these clips from the internet, but there he is, rather explicitly advocating for political violence. The whole point of stochastic terrorism is that by vaguely, you know, encouraging political violence, by inciting hate against a group of people, that some crazies in your audience are going to be motivated to carry out stuff like bomb threats, stuff like shooting somebody in cold blood. And this is what happened at Boston's Children's Hospital. This is what happened at that public library. This is what's happened to that California shop owner. Time and time again, same story, from the same figures who are encouraging this political violence.